What is up, everybody? It is Hump Day here on HQ Spotlight. So, of course, we're kicking off the show 4 wide. We're starting on the gridiron. Haley Sutton, happy to be joined by Jacqueline D'Agostino. We also have our NFL crew of Douzable and Pete Prisco. Guys, Week 12 in the NFL means we've got some bold predictions coming up for this week.
And there's a lot that happened in Week 11. The Chiefs are no longer undefeated, and some folks predicted that. But like Haley mentioned, we're going to get into bold predictions for Week 12. We're not just talking teams. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty and talk about players as well, targeting the NFC West, because it's I keep calling it the wild NFC West, because we don't know who the heck is going to come out of that division. Every team is 500 or above. But yeah, we're going to get into some teams and bold predictions with Pete and Lige. So let's kick things off. Lige. Of course, the Niners. That is a team that a lot of folks had high expectations for, of course, coming off of that Super Bowl appearance. They have dealt with injury after injury after injury. But you have a bold prediction in terms of the Niners and their season and how it's going to end, essentially, this week.
Yeah, Jacqueline, a massive game versus Pete's Green Bay Packers, who he picked to go to the Super Bowl. I believe the Green Bay Packers will essentially end the 49ers season this week, right? When you look at it, this 49ers team is accustomed to digging themselves out of holes. They've done it multiple years, but this might be the year they finally dug a little bit too deep. When you look at the schedule and who they have coming down the pike after this Green Bay game, they have to go to the Buffalo Bills. They have to go to the Cardinals. They have to go to the Dolphins. They still have to play the Lions and Rams. That is a gauntlet. It's probably the hardest schedule left out of any team in the NFL. So the way you look at this playoff picture right now, Pete, you would have to say they probably need to win, 4 of those 5 games that I just named, and all 5 of those teams right now are in playoff contention. So when you look at this, the thing that's really hurt the 49ers is the injury bug, right? Christian McCaffrey missed a good portion of the year. We just saw last week George Kittle wasn't able to play. There's still some concerns that he might not even play this week. Nick Bosa gets hurt. We'll see how long he'll be out, because that's when that game turned over for them last week versus the Seattle Seahawks. Geno scored 14 points when Nick Bosa was on the sideline. The Packers will essentially end the 49ers this week.
You know, maybe I missed the assignment, but it says bold prediction.
That's not bold.
Bold prediction.
It's bold for Lige.
The Packers are favored in the game.
But I'm saying they're going to end them.
Bold. That's not too bold.
That is. Well, you got to think, if the 49ers lose this game, most likely their season is done.
Bold. You missed the assignment, Lige.
That's bold, man.
And by the way,
people are saying that people pick the 49ers to win the NFC.
It's not bold enough for Pete.
I do know some of his other predictions. I think he entirely missed the assignment.
Oh gosh.
Okay. Give us your Super Bowl spiel on the Packers here.
The Packers are going to get it right. We haven't seen the best of the Packers yet. And I think Jordan Love being injured really set them back on who they are going to be offensively. You wouldn't even agree with that, right? And I think they're going to get it going. And again, the 49ers beat them in the playoffs last year. The Packers had that game won and blew it, and they need to make amends for that, and I think they will in this game.
All right, the Niners, of course, coming off of that loss to Seattle in Week 11, so we'll keep our eye to see if their season is done or if it continues. He just did not like that bold prediction. All right, we're going to the wild NFC West. I actually might steal that, but put that in my back pocket. Because it is wild, and it's wild when you think about how Kyler Murray is really leading this Cardinals team this season. They are the team that's at the top of the standings right now, Pete. He is your bold prediction this week. You're expecting some big production from him in this game.
Yeah, and Seattle's defense actually played well last week against San Francisco, but they haven't all year. And I think this is an opportunity for him to go up there and throw for 303. I love what Kyler Murray's become. He's become a guy that puts the ball accurately. He can make the throws inside the pocket. He looks so comfortable in this offense after being hurt last year. I love what he's doing, and I think this offense can score points. They will score points against Seattle. I think he plays well. And this is the team to watch in that division. And who could have ever imagined we'd be saying that in mid-November?
Yeah, this is a team, Pete, that me and you touted being a year away, right? We thought this was a team that if you play around with them, they'll bite you like a snake. And they've done that to a lot of teams. The 49ers found that out the hard way earlier this season, but I don't think anybody could imagine them being on top of this division at this point of the season, right? We're about to go into Week 12, and right now they're a game up in this division. Still have a lot of crucial divisional games coming up. Seattle twice within the next 3 weeks. So this is a big pivotal game for the Cardinals if they want to solidify themselves as the NFC West champs. But 300 yards and 3 touchdowns?
Yeah, that's bold. See, that's bold. That's bold.
That is bold. That's beyond bold.
It's not far off off, though, this season, Kyler Murray is 6th straight season with 200 passing yards per game. He's also got 30 rushing yards per game. I know we didn't talk about the...
That's an extra 100 yards, Haley.
I'm just saying.
This is the game he needs to throw it. And by the way, good feeling of football in the Valley of the Sun. Sun Devils, big game this week.
Your alma mater. Your alma mater.
Big for Sun Devils this week.
Pete, should they be in the CFP? Really quick diversion. Sun Devils?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will they get there?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to get there.
All right.
Marcel's going to love that.
I had to ask the alum. So I'm still trying to get used to seeing the Cardinals at -110 to win the division, and still trying to get that in the back of my head.
Wow.
Let's talk about the Eagles. We'll see if this prediction is bold enough.
You don't think it's bold enough?
He probably doesn't. The Eagles were a team that it took them a bit to kind of get things going, but it feels like right now they are. Lige, tell us your prediction and why Pete is making faces.
Yeah, I see the odds. And now when I look at the odds, they don't look as bold. But the crazy thing is, Pete, is like it hasn't been that many defensive rookies that have made a stamp on their rosters this year. So my bold prediction before I saw the odds,
it's still plus money.
It is plus minus, was after this week, because these two teams play each other. The Eagles travel out to the Rams. Is that Quinyon Mitchell will take over being the betting odd favorite to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. And you know, I've said this for a while, like, people aren't talking about Quinyon Mitchell enough, what he's been able to do. What he did to Scary Terry McLaurin on Thursday Night Football, nobody has done to him. Like, Pete, we did the midseason awards, and we had Scary Terry McLaurin as an all-pro. And literally, Quinyon Mitchell took him out of the game. He did the same thing with Mike Evans, did the same thing with CeeDee Lamb. He is playing at a different level for a rookie quarterback. Remember scouting him at the Senior Bowl. This is a quiet assassin, right? Now, he talks trash on the football field, but when he's just walking around, doesn't say much, just goes about his business. Now, Jared Verse has been really good for the Rams the last few weeks in regards to getting to the quarterback, but what Quinyon Mitchell has been able to do to opposing #1 receivers, he's playing at a Pro Bowl level. I think this game will take him over the top, especially because you got Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. If he's able to mitigate those two guys, he'll be the betting favorite for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I'm one of the voters, so I'm keeping a close eye on that, and I love what he's done. He is so fluid in the way he plays the position. He's a natural cornerback, and it's great to watch a guy who steps in and does what he does. But again, not real bold. He's number 2 in the betting odds, and by the end of the week, he might be #1.
Next week, we're just going to have to make sure we run these by Pete.
I guess before I come out there.
Approval.
There's bold and then there's over the top. That 303 was over the top.
Well, you know what bold is supposed to do? It's supposed to be bold, and if it doesn't come through, it makes you look like an idiot. And that's what yours aren't going to make you look like an idiot. Mine will.
Sounds like Lige's got it figured out, Pete.
That's true.
All right, let's go to your next bold prediction. This is taking us to the Steelers, my favorite topic. We're talking about Mr. Unlimited.
Pete's favorite player.
I was going to say he's your favorite
eyes
player. Obviously, he has really been a turning point for the Steelers this season, 4-0 since taking over that starting job. However, your bold prediction, this feels bold. You think he's going to throw 2 interceptions against the Cleveland Browns?
Correct. It's going to be raining and miserable and 40 degrees. And if you go back and watch his tape, he hasn't played nearly as well as the perception of him playing the quarterback position. He doesn't throw to the middle of the field. Yep. He hits those shots down the sidelines, those 50-50 balls, great. That's not hard to do. He takes the shots. You got to give him credit. I'm concerned about, like, the turnover in the red zone last week was terrible. He's putting 2 hands again on the ball when he's scrambling outside the pocket, which drives me crazy. So let's slow down the Russell Wilson praise. I think he has a bad game. He throws 2 picks this week. And by the way, Steeler fans, please don't come at me.
They're coming at you. They're going to come at you.
You've been asking Steelers fans to stop coming at you for
my
weeks.
God.
You even an apology. It's like
you did.
I did the apology. They're still relentless.
They're going to be relentless if they keep winning with Mr. Unlimited. They're going to keep it. The thing about Russell Wilson, he's right. Completion percentage-wise, it hasn't been out of this world, right? But the thing for the Steelers and what Mike Tomlin did, which was a chancy move because Justin Fields was 4-2 as a starting quarterback, he wanted somebody that could push the ball down the field. You talked about this. Russell Wilson doesn't like to throw the ball in the middle of the field, and I wondered how that was going to work with Arthur Smith because he wants to attack the middle of the field. But Arthur Smith has grown and said, you know what? This is what Russell Wilson likes to do. He likes heavy play-action pass. He wants to throw the moon balls. Let's get him on the edge on some bootlegs. Get him some easy throws. And it's really worked for this offense, 1, because they have a championship-type defense, but 2, because they're physical up front and they can run the football. So play-action works when you're able to run the ball effectively. So it'll be interesting. I don't think he'll throw 2 interceptions, Pete, because I think this is going to be a 9-7 type game where both teams are going to run the ball because it's going to be 40 degrees and raining.
And they made Myles Garrett mad, which you knew.
Oh, you saw that? That's what I can't wait to see. Forget Russell Wilson.
They made Myles Garrett mad.
TJ Watt and Myles Garrett got some beef. I can't wait to see that.
That's like making Forrest Whitaker mad in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. How that worked out. You guys haven't seen that.
I'm a little stumped over here beyond the side of the desk.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. There's an age separation there. All right, let's move on to the AFC West. And I'm trying not to AFC East, excuse me. I'm trying not to laugh, Lige, but I'm kind of with Pete on this one. Your next one, you're going Tyreek Hill.
Well, that's actually big.
That's
mine.
Yours.
Yeah.
Okay, so even better. Let's reverse the role here. We want to talk about bold. Your bold prediction is Tyreek Hill going over 180 and 2 touchdowns. I understand it in the context of this season that he has not met those expectations this year, but is that really bold for Tyreek Hill?
Haley, that's very bold.
Okay.
For how he's played, it's very bold.
That's very bold.
Yeah.
But you know why? It's really not that bold because if you watch the Patriots last week, they were awful in coverage, and they gave up a bunch of big plays. Cooper Kupp had a huge play where nobody touched him, and I think this is going to be a game where Tyreek Hill gets it going and looks like Tyreek Hill. Tua's playing really good football since he's come back. He's getting the ball out of his hands. I'm impressed with what he's done. I think Tyreek Hill has a monster day, and they get back to saying this is the Tyreek Hill we would have seen all year if Tua had stayed healthy.
The thing is, like, Christian Gonzalez is a really good corner on the outside, but the thing is with Mike McDaniel, so much pre-snap motion, it's really hard to travel with receivers, so it's hard for teams a lot of times to travel with Tyreek Hill, to travel with Jalen Waddle. So I think that'll be a benefit for them. They gave up way too many busted coverages last week versus the Rams. This offense for the Miami Dolphins is starting to cook lately. Now, we haven't really seen it from the receivers. It's been Jonnu Smith and the backs out of the backfield, but this could be a game they get right on offense.
Did you see the Jonnu Smith story about how he threw the touchdown?
Went to his son.
Went to his son.
That's dope. That's amazing.
It was amazing.
Okay, we have one last chance for Lige.
Come on, hopefully this is good enough for Pete.
I know.
Hopefully this is good enough for Pete.
By Pete's standards. Okay, we're talking about the MVP race, and of course it's a lot of Josh Allen, it's a lot of Lamar, but you think this guy is going to insert his name into the conversation?
And I think this is bold, Pete, because nobody's ever talked about it, but of course now the odds all of a sudden got Justin Herbert as a top 5 guy. When did this happen? Nobody was talking about Justin Herbert.
Okay, but it's better than Quinn Mitchell a little farther down the board.
I mean, it's plus 2,500, so it's pretty bold when you look at it. So when you look at it, right, 13 touchdowns, only 1 interception. If you look since week 7, he has the 3rd most passing yards. And Pete, we talked about this in the beginning of the year. I think Jim Harbaugh was dead set on really putting his culture onto this team. They wanted to run the ball. Me, Pete, wondered, with that golden arm quarterback, were they going to let him sling the ball around? Well, they've let him do it the last few weeks, and he was amazing in the first half versus the Bengals. And the numbers will look bad in the second half. Let's not forget, Quentin Johnson had 2 drops. Josh Palmer had a pivotal drop. But when they really needed Justin Herbert to be big, which he has failed in the past, when they gave him the ball back, 2 big passes to Ladd McConkey to get them in the red zone, and then they did a nice job, J.K. Dobbins, with a physical power run to get into the end zone and win. And me and Pete said, these next 4 weeks, we'll learn a lot about the Chargers, right? Because they had to play the Bengals, who was a high-potent offense. They have the Ravens. They have the Chiefs. We'll learn about this team. Well, they passed the first check mark. This is a huge check mark versus the Baltimore Ravens. Pete talked about it. That defense had been the Achilles heel, the secondary. The Ravens defense played really well last week. So if Justin Herbert can do it with the cast of characters he has around him, because when you look at it, nobody has more deficiency in regards to offensive talent than Justin Herbert. If he's able to have a big game versus the Ravens and win, look out. He can be in the MVP race.
And when you think about it, give Jim Harbaugh credit because he wants, like you said, he wants to be a physical team, but he's figured it out. He knows he has that guy. You throw to score, you run to win.
Correct.
What did they do the other night? They threw to score, and then they ran to win. That's the formula, and that's what they're going to do all the way into the postseason.
Is that bold enough?
Jinx?
That's bold.
Okay, so we ended on a good
So he's batting 333.
And baseball, that's great.
That's great.
Yeah.
Not bold prediction.
Maybe some MVP-like numbers if he's a baseball player.
All right, so we had some bold predictions, some semi-bold predictions. Either way, we love having these guys hop on and talk NFL action with us. You can get plenty more of the NFL conversation on the newest CBS Sports podcast, Pushing the Pile, with Kyle Long and Mike Renner. You can scan that QR code on your screen or listen in wherever you get your podcasts.